still do 7 NUFC Matters shows for free a week. But if you want to support the channel, there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast or video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications option. Hit the thanks button to buy a super sticker. You can do this on the live chat too. You can also join our Patreon page or buy us a coffee at the link in all of our video descriptions below. We are also looking for sponsors. If you want our latest advertising rates and how you can get involved, then email John at nufcmatters1892@gmail.com. Thanks.
Hush now, city kids, gather round for other myths. Hush now, city kids. When it came to me after so long, I didn't have no choices in the streets where I was from. When I think about the pain, I didn't have no choices. I took what I had sworn. Hush now, city kids, gather round for urban myths. Hush now, city kids. But you know, they wouldn't let you have it any other way. Stepping back from what you lack, the past just pulls you back in again. Save me from myself, it just carries on, just carries on.
Good evening, welcome along to NUFC Matters. It is the fans forum and it is welcome to you at home, welcome to all the lads and lasses out there, and welcome to the lads on the forum. Tonight we're going to start with something a bit different. I am going to ask the lads to mute their microphones because we're getting a bit of feedback from somebody and it's very difficult to work out who it is. So might be you, Kev. No, you're on mute. Might be you, George, again. I'm not sure. But if you all just mute yourselves, that would be great. And come unmute when it's your turn to talk. But we're going to start tonight with the top 100 players of all time, which Oliver Holt came up with. I did send this to the lads. They've had a chance to have a look at it. And I asked them to pick their 3 top players and give a reason for picking their top 3. So I'm hoping the lads have done their homework and I'm hoping they've had a time to look at it and come up with it. George is sitting in the driving seat, so I am going to go to George first. I can't leave that on the screen, so hopefully you have had time to look at the list. But George, we'll come to you, mate. If you unmute yourself, give us your top 3 and your reasons why.
Oh.
Yes,
right.
You're unmuted.
That's okay. Well, the only thing I'm going to start with is if anybody mentions war spite tonight, they're in trouble, okay? No, seriously. Yeah, it's an interesting list, and it's slightly controversial for me because there's names on there far higher, in my opinion, than there should be. But you've asked us to pick the best 3 that I regard. Well, number 1 for me has got to be Pelé. I can't imagine anybody outstripping Pelé for not just his performance on the field, his performance off the field. He was an absolute gentleman. Starting his career as a 17-year-old in the World Cup and right up to the day he finished, he was outstanding in every sphere. Pace, 2 feet, his ability to control the ball, his ability to head the ball. Everything about him was the best. He could dribble. He could leave people for dead just with pace. So number 1 for me would be Pelé. And I, as I say, it's more than just his abilities on the field. Great ambassador for football. If there was anybody, would say to me, who would you hold up as the one you would say to kids, that's who you want to emulate? Well, Pelé would be mine. There are others on that list who are good, but I wouldn't hold them up as adverts to young people as being who they should follow. And then because I've gone that way, it gets a bit more difficult for me after that, because you're comparing not just players, you're comparing eras as well. And I've got to say, having looked down the list, when I see, and by the way, I actually had seen Pelé, which was great. We when they were playing in the Northwest in the World Cup, we had a car trip across there to go to a match where he was playing, a match where he was virtually kicked out the game, actually, which was quite sad. But never mind. So having moved on and looked at the players who could cross the divide, then I suddenly push Messi up the list, because what I like about Messi is that as an attacking player, you could play Messi in any of the front five positions, any, and he would make a success of it. And again, superbly two-footed. You know, there's never any question about whether he was right-footed or left-footed or whatever. He was superbly two-footed, and again, grease lightning. Not the biggest of guys, but like many of the talented midfielders, a bit like Peter Beardsley was, not big, but very strong from the waist down over, very strong, low centre of gravity, which gives them a lot of strength and a lot of ability to turn people inside out. We've had our share of those sort of players at Newcastle, Beardsley, Len White. Not very big, but extremely quick, and because of the low centre of gravity, they could leave people behind and twist in and out of people. So it was thinking like that led me to think about Messi, and the fact that he's scored more goals than he's played games has something to do with it as well. I mean, it's just incredible in any era. You know, some of the early ones I noticed down the list where you know, Dixie Dean was great, yes, but in an era when it wasn't unusual for star players to score more goals than games played. Where in the modern game, you know, there were defenders, particularly put in teams, deliberately to stop people doing that. And of course, with him and others, they just weren't in the race. Yeah, so Messi number two, just his all-round ability, and even for a little man, his heading ability, you know, everything about him is class. And again, another one who, generally speaking, has been a great ambassador for football off the field as well. And that always, I think, is an important feature of people you're holding up to this sort of accolade. And then third, you couldn't have that list without including a player who makes me think of all sorts of things, and that's Maradona. Maradona is without doubt one of the most talented ball players the game's ever seen, but he was also inclined to do things which irritated me greatly, both on and off the pitch. And sadly, because he was who he was, he got away with it. And that's quite sad. But that doesn't deny the fact he was a very, very talented player. Scored some brilliant goals, scored some iffy goals, like the hand of God and all of that. But nonetheless, that doesn't detract from the fact that in terms of ability on the ball and general play, ability to pass the ball, ability to hold the ball, ability to tackle, like in a way in which some people who play forward wouldn't even get involved in nowadays. So Maradona number three. So that's my three. you know, I'm happy to come back if anybody wants us to. But that's my three to start off.
Excellent, George. Really good. You did your homework, George. Go to the top of the class. And Olivia definitely needs Specsavers. I've stuck the link in the chat there. Pablo's nodding accordingly. Okay, Darren. You're not going to be miserable in the huff about this because it's your opinion and you can stick to it. There's some interesting names in there. I've got to be honest, and it's one of those which you can play around with for hours on end during international week. And there's no right or wrong answer. So what's your top three out of the 100 players?
Well, number one for me, it's got to be Cristiano Ronaldo. Who are players I've seen in my era.
Good show, Darren. Good.
I know it's a toss between Messi and Ronaldo, but I've seen Ronaldo. I've never seen Messi, and in my opinion, Messi never was at Barcelona. Never tested himself in different leagues where Ronaldo's done it and won stuff. And Ronaldo, he was. We hated him, but he was a great footballer. All the goals he scored, and he was ultimate professional. Even now, he still is professional. He wants to play till to his next World Cup. You know, he's banned now for that. Red card the weekend. But Ronaldo all day long, he was just in the Premiership. He was the most hated player because he was the best, wasn't he? He was just his goals outrageous, free kicks outrageous. He always wanted to win, 100%. So no one, Ronaldo. Number two, Vavavoom, Thierry Henry, striker, unbelievable. Coming to England as a left winger, end up front. All his goals he scored was fantastic. Again, I like fast players. And Henry was fast, wasn't he? He had the Vavavoom, the cockiness, the skill. Arsenal's all-time top goal scorer at the current time. So I know he may be a cheat with the stuff he done, scored a goal for his hand. But overall, the Henry. Second one, I wanted to pick an English one. I've got to say, I like Paul Scholes as an attacking midfield player. He just ginger, but he had a good strike. He done it right. He's play. He's passing the ball. I know he played for Man U, but I was a big fan of Ginger Paul Scholes. For none of them was always scored goal. He's weird to man the ball consistently. Loyal player, and he played up front and midfield. And I always said he should have been in England team. He got played in the wrong position for England on the left. He was never a left winger.
Yeah,
he was a number 10 or a centre midfield player because the manager didn't have the bottle to drop Lampard or Gerrard. So Paul Scholes, that's my top three, Steve.
Okay, good stuff, Darren. Kev, interested to hear yours.
Well, first of all, a big shout out to my lovely wife, Liz. She turned 38 on Saturday. She's under the weather. She's lost her voice and all her medical crap what she's got going on. And she's made it 38. So happy birthday, love.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I went down a little different tact. I went on players that I've actually physically seen and obviously tried to make it a pro and see the game from a different perspective. So I went down a different road, but they're still all good players in their own right. So forgive me. I'll go 3-1. Number 3, I'm going to go with David Beckham. That's one of the best crosses of football I've seen live over a consistent period of time. And I modeled my game on that a little bit because I play wide right. So, if you're watching somebody who's a consistently good delivery of a ball with his long range passing to his crossing ability, all the above. I was even nicknamed Baby Bex as a kid when I was playing back in the day in the early 2000s as well. So, just had to give him an honourable mention. But with that, it was a toss-up between him and Johan Cruyff, because I played wide right and I used to cut back with that Cruyff turn, the infamous Cruyff turn, back when I played. So there was a toss-up between one of them. My number two, again, maybe out left field a little bit, but I'm going to go with Dennis Bergkamp. Again, just from a playing standpoint, his first touch was fabulous. Had a great eye for a goal, the one against Argentina. I think it was in the World Cup '98, when he just took it over his head and put it in the top pin to win the game, or whatever it was. And the one against Leicester, he done exactly the same, destroyed players with his that just initial first touch. So I was obviously within that era watching it along with Henry. He was very close to that to be number two. They were a nice little tandem, a duo in that Invincibles teams of that era. So again, just one that stood out to me from a footballing perspective. But my number one, and he changed the narrative of football for me, because again, from a personal standpoint, I got released for being too small. And I'm almost 6 foot, and I'm going to give it to Leo Messi, because I think he changed the narrative of being a world-class footballer, being 5'4", and he changed the whole thing. The idea was, back when I was playing it, you have to be 6 foot plus, you have to be built like a brick shithouse, and you have to be all the above. So he changed the narrative for me, and outside of all of that, he could change a game in an instant. So he's my modern day Maradona, if you will. He's that good. So yeah, a little bit different, but again, it was more model my game on a lot of those players outside of Leo Messi, because I didn't have the skill set, but I had some of the other skill sets of the previous to go and try and make it a pro.
Good stuff, Kev. Like this, like the approach. Alan.
Well, I've went down the childhood route, Steve. All the top three for me are in my childhood. Kevin took the words out of my mouth, because I used to try and do it at school. Johan Cruyff, third for me. He just was a magician. It was something different, something that the world hadn't seen at the time. And for a small country like Holland to get the 2 World Cups in the 70s, absolutely phenomenal achievement. Went on to manage Barcelona as well. Great player. Just loved the guy. I've missed out the 2 modern day absolutely giants in Messi and Ronaldo, because my second one is Bobby Charlton. I think we haven't had many, sorry to say, Darren, many world class players, but from getting over the Munich disaster to win the World Cup, win the Champions League or European Cup, win the league title, and the way he handled himself, exactly what George said. He was a real gentleman throughout his life, and he made people. That's why I couldn't pick Maradona. Keeping out of a game, I couldn't pick him in the top 3. I'm sorry, even though he probably had far more ability, I couldn't pick Maradona in my top 3. And I agree with George. Pelé, probably the greatest team I'd probably ever see as a youngster in 1970. And I'll go along to that and say that was England's best ever England 11 as well. And if Jeff Astle hadn't missed a sitter with 6 minutes to go, we might have had a different outcome, because when we got beat off Brazil, we had to play West Germany in the quarterfinals. And everybody knows what happened in the quarterfinals then. And we're 2-0 up, and again, Bobby Charlton was took off. He was running the game. And Sir Alf Ramsey, bless him, took him off thinking we're going to make the semi-finals. And Bobby Charlton had the great Franz Beckenbauer in his pocket. And it changed it, and we went on to lose 3-2. So for me, I agree with George. Pelé, Bobby Charlton, and Johan Cruyff in that order.
Okay, Magnus. Oh, you're still on mute, mate. You need to unmute yourself.
Hello, everyone. I would like to do a quick honorable mention of Ronaldo and Messi, because they are still playing. I would like to look at these kind of things as like when we look back at that when they have retired. But we are privileged to be still enjoying them on the pitch. And And for me, having lived in Spain when they were battling each other, what a privilege we've had watching those two pushing each other forward, even in a different team. Messi and Ronaldo have been amazing throughout this time, and I'm gonna just give them an honorable mention now and move on. Alan Shearer, because I met him, I'm basic. He is also an honorable mention with all his goals that he scored. He is the kind of number 4 for me because he scored all those goals and he was a perfect gentleman when I met him. He was everything I expected him to be, and I've said it many times on here. So. The 260 goals has to put him on to give him a good honorable mention. After 3 years of injuries, it's an amazing accomplishment. But okay, straight on to my number 3. Xavier Hernandez is my number 3. I've never seen talent like that on the middle of the pitch, not before nor after. We're probably seeing similar talents in Sandro Tonali right now, and he could well bypass him with time. But for me, I don't even support Barcelona. But for me, Xavier Hernandez is the best midfielder I've ever seen. And I even named my oldest son after him. My oldest son is called Xavi. And I don't even support Barcelona. It's also a beautiful name. So that played a part. Number 2, I got the privilege as living in Spain. I saw him only once play. For me, with his dribbling, Ronaldinho has to be one of the best that ever has played this game. And I mean, it's very sad the rise and especially the fall of him. And it was a sad time when we could see that he transferred over to AC Milan. He had a few good years after that. But crazy enough, 3 of those guys are from that same Barcelona team that I'm talking about. Xavi, Ronaldinho, and Messi. What a great generation of players this was. And, having them all in the same team was just absolute privilege to follow. And I don't even support Barcelona, but it was an amazing team to watch. Okay, to my number 1. It was always controversial. For me, it's one of the reasons why I watch football today. I was 10 years old when I first saw this guy play football. It has to be Diego Maradona. I know he was not very unpopular off the pitch, and he done some very, very dodgy things along the way. He once, I read his story. He once said, "I'm an addict, and I always was, and I probably always will be." He once also said, "But I have to tell you, cocaine doesn't make you a better footballer. It just makes you run faster." That was his way of talking. So for me, it was. I've never seen skills like his, and I've never seen one guy drag a club and country to a victory like he done, and those skills. I've just never seen talent like him. There was no way to stop him except for just fouling him, and the fouls that he took on, and yet carried both Napoli and Argentina to a victory. For me, and I know this is probably not popular. This is an English show. For me, it's a Maradona.
Your opinion, Magnus? Your opinion?
Good stuff, Magnus. Enjoyed it. Pablo, no Phil Babb on the list, I'm afraid, mate.
Gutted. Absolutely gutted. I don't know if you guys, I mean, I looked through that list and I'd consider myself to be fairly knowledgeable about football. There's some names on there that I'm being dead honest, I don't know who they are. But so the list, I mean, any list that Gary Lineker is above Alan Shearer, you've got to question its validity. But that being said, looking at this list, guys, there's one on there that I'm gutted isn't on there. And Liv said to me, Rene Higuita. because we watched a documentary on him a while back, and that he was some goalkeeper.
Yeah.
But let's get serious. So we'll go. I tell you what, we'll go with my number one first. And two of my guys on here have not been mentioned so far, which I thought they might be, to be fair. So number one for me, I've based my choices on. I'd feel a bit of a fraud if I said to you George Best was the best footballer in the world, or your big names like Beckenbauer, because I know what they've done for the game, but I haven't watched them week in, week out. So my choices are based purely upon 45 years of watching football, and the guys I've seen that I'm going to name, I've taken an interest in them. I've seen them. I've seen their achievements. I've seen what they've done, positive, negative. So I'm going to go number one. And a big factor behind this is I got the privilege of going to World Cup 98 in France. So my choice is the majestic midfielder, Zinedine Zidane.
Oh, that good call.
Yeah.
I was close to that one.
And I think what's big about Zidane is I always remember, I'm not one of these fans that likes a name and number on the back of a football shirt, but I was adamant that I was going to get a Real Madrid shirt with Zidane 5 on. So for me, the way he was as a footballer, I think when you look at him, he almost looked lazy, nonchalant, kind of not bothered, not with the pace of it. And he just kind of strolled around that midfield. But when you actually look at him, he would literally take 2 or 3 players on purely by a head movement or a shoulder movement. And then what he'd do, he'd pick a pass out that was just next level, but he'd do that on a consistent basis. I mean, he obviously was at Juventus and Real Madrid. And I just think what he did for France, you know, with the Euros, with the World Cup, the way he went about, he had that arrogance about him as well that, you know, some people, I'm sure they would hate, but he just had something about him that made me sit and just watch in awe, you know. And for me, he is my number one. People have asked me this in the past, and he's the one that comes straight to my mind every time. So I've got to go with him. And obviously that free kick that he scored up in Scotland, that was next level. And I think there have been players like him, but when you're playing for Real Madrid, when you're playing for France, he's won everything there is to win. And a lot of the players on my list kind of follow that train of thought. I think the next one, number 2, which is a tough one, I'm going to go. And if you'd have asked me about this guy, when he first come on the scene, I detested him, like full on detested everything he was about. I detested the football club he played for, what he did on the pitch. But as time grew on in his career and he made the move away from Manchester United, Cristiano Ronaldo, and what that guy's done, I mean, just looking at some of his numbers, even at United, you know, he's 84 goals in 194. And I'd say at Man United, that's where he was becoming the man he is today and the player he is today. You know, Real Madrid, 311 goals in 292 appearances. I mean, yes, he's playing for Real Madrid, but that is still unbelievable. If you actually try and break that down, then on to Juve, 81 goals in 98, and it follows on and it follows on. And I think what he is the epitome of a professional footballer. Again, a man with a little bit of arrogance. You know, some people dislike his personality, but when you actually look at what he does off the pitch as well, he does so much behind the scenes. Yes, there's cameras following him week in, week out, and they get the glitzy bits. But that guy, the stuff he does for charities and stuff we don't actually hear about, it is just beyond. And I think he is, if you said a model professional, you could even paint him. I mean, physically, he looks like an Adonis. On the pitch, his numbers are unreal. And as a man, I just like the way he conducts himself, certainly as he's matured. And for me, he was always going to make my number 2. You know, I love the guy. And to say that I hated him, or so I believed, it's been phenomenal watching how he's developed. I think number 3 was the toughest one for me because there are some amazing names on that list. And I've just noticed the link. All my players have played for what I perceive in my time alive on earth for the biggest club in the world, and that's Real Madrid, because it's a club that I follow, and it's a club that have always been consistently winning things. And I think my number 3 would be the original Ronaldo, as in R9. And now that is a player. I mean, there is a connection with us, obviously, with the Bobby Robson stuff. You know, he's a young lad from Brazil with bucked teeth, came to cut his cloth in Europe at PSV Eindhoven with Bob. then on to Barcelona, and then it unfolds with Real Madrid into Milan. And I think, yet again, his numbers are unreal. But I always remember watching this kid, and it was like, I know it's a term that we use all the time. He's got glue on his boots. He would pick a ball up, halfway line. And the next thing, you'd look at him, he was that quick with his feet. He'd be in the opposition, he'd be in the box. He'd be in the box ready to shoot within a flash. But not only that, he wasn't one of them players who've just got a bit of pace and skill. He actually become a physical specimen as well. And he was hard to get off the ball. And again, a lad who's won literally is all there is to win. And I think one of his best nights, I remember watching it with one of my friends, and I was jumping off the sofa, was when he absolutely destroyed Man United in the Champions League. And I think probably that was one of his finest nights that I ever saw him. But again, there could have been, I could have gone on for 10 of these players, but I think they are the standout players in my time watching football. They're all attacking players that have got me off my seat. They're all players that have won everything, which is a testament to a player in itself. And they've all played for Real Madrid. So, I think that's my three, mate.
Brilliant. Great stuff. I'm glad I did this. It's always interesting when you see lists and you get your lads' opinions. I have put a poll in the chat as well, just so you can get involved. Not in the top three players, though. The question is very simple. Should Darren get a Christmas tree? Yes or no? And currently the voting stands at 75% yes, 25% no. Thanks to Tilly. Thanks to Tilly for suggesting this tonight. And there we go, Darren.
Tilly, I'm going to kill you.
even the poll said you should get a Christmas tree. It says from Tilly. Anyway, we'll update at the end of the show. Alwaleed, give us your top three from that list of players, all-time great players that Oliver Holt came up with.
Hello, lads. Also, I'm interested to hear yours, Steve, as well. It took me 2 minutes or 1 minute when I read the list without ranking. I am almost 40 years old, and since I watch football, I didn't see someone amuse me like Ronaldinho. He was really a joy when you watch him, regardless numbers and stuff. But watching Ronaldinho playing was so amusing, and he's laughing, smiling, winking, and we all, most of us, maybe like football since we are kids. The Japanese cartoon Tsubasa, and I think Ronaldinho is the real Tsubasa. He playing without watching the ball. It's like attached to his feet. It was really great player, and of course there is a lot of players we watch them. But since live for me it always Ronaldinho. As I said, without ranking. The second choice, of course, it will be Maradona, because we watch a lot of the videos, and he's maybe didn't be any rest in peace. Maybe last game was 30 years ago, 30 years ago, but still people talking about Maradona until now, and we watch the videos all over the media platforms and stuff. And of course, Maradona, the things he do it's beyond magic, I believe. And he played for Napoli, which was considered not that strong team in Italy, and win the league. It's really interested, and the whole player is interested. So this is the two. The three, maybe this is you will see it a weird choice, but it's based on documentary I watch about Pablo Rossi. He was suspended for 2 years for similar to the betting apps and stuff. Similar situation with our player Tonali, but he was suspended 2 years, and they bring him back for World Cup and score hat-trick against best Brazil ever in 1982, and he scored at the final. With such a player, he suspended 2 years and come back like this. I think this is the greatest comeback ever. So that's why when I watch the documentary, I really get attached.
Good stuff. Okay, cheers. Well, Alwaleed. Adam.
Yeah, so I think the beautiful thing about this list is that it just defines what football is, really. It's just a game of opinions, and everyone's gave their opinion, and that's what the list's about. For me, I went off players that when I was in school who had the most influence on how the lads got their haircut, what boots they bought, what names they had the back on the shirt. So number 3, I'm going to go with someone I don't think's been said yet, and that's Wayne Rooney. If someone wasn't wanting to be Alan Shearer on the playground, it was someone else wanting to be Wayne Rooney. I think he's the last striker of his kind in terms of being an absolute animal whilst he was on the pitch. It was, you see the interviews and you see the documentaries and the little bits and bobs where he talks about being a bit of a rough nut on the pitch, and when he's had to nail players to kind of prove a point to the rest of the league. And for me, as a young player watching him, you, in necessity being a goalkeeper, you kind of study what he done as well to kind of figure out what you would have to do as a goalkeeper to try and combat it. The T90s, classic Wayne Rooney boots. You would smash one at 30 miles an hour. And you felt like Wayne Rooney as well. I've just seen a comment by Pablo there. If you got Rooney's hair. But I think bald-headed Rooney was a serious player. When you see the clip of him playing against Hull City, half of those two kids. Number 2, I've went for Ronaldinho again. What an influence he had on lads my age at school. You would try the skills he'd done on the playground, end up falling flat on your face because it was only him that could really do it, and make it look cool. My first foreign shirt was a Barcelona top with Ronaldinho on the back, and that was the influence he had for a lot of the lads in my school and in my year group and things like that. Again, it was what I think Magnus said before. It was you'd wink at the camera, he'd have a smile on his face, and then he played football so effortlessly. It was unbelievable. It just looked like he was in the park with his pals. And then number 1, I think it's got to be Ronaldo for me. The bloke's an absolute genius, and he's done it everywhere he's went. He's his own brand. He's worth as a person more in some countries. He's worth absolutely billions. And when you say that he's got his CR7 brand, whether it's boots, boxer shorts, whatever it may be, he's more than just a footballer. And again, being a young lad in the early 2000s, watching him at Man United and then going to Real Madrid, and you wanted his boots, you wanted his hairstyle, you wanted to even try and eat like Ronaldo just to be Ronaldo. And I think that was the influence he had on everyone. An honourable mention as well, obviously from a goalkeeper's point of view, I would have liked to have seen Manuel Neuer in that list as well. I think he transformed goalkeeping. So yeah, that's just a little honourable mention as well, Steve.
Great stuff. Okay, I will quickly give you mine before I go to Jeff. My 3, and 2 of them have already been mentioned. No, one of them's been mentioned. My number 3 is Pelé. Pelé, brilliant player, all-round great player, one of the best, won every honour, and was a wonderful ambassador as well. So Pelé is my number 3. Number 2 is somebody that hasn't been mentioned yet, and because in my illustrious Sunday career, I played as a defender. I'm always going to find a defender in that list, and Franco Baresi was my favourite. What a player he was. For club and for country. He won 3 UEFA Champions League titles, 6 Serie A titles, 4 Supercoppa Italiana titles, 2 European Super Cups, 2 Intercontinental Cups, as well as the World Cup with Italy. Captained his team, was named in the FIFA World Cup All-Star team. And at the 1994 World Cup, he was named Italy's captain and was part of the squad that reached the final, although he did miss a penalty in the resulting shootout as Brazil lifted the trophy. Baresi also represented Italy at 2 UEFA European Championships in 80 and 88, and also competed at the 84 Olympics, reaching the semi-finals on each occasion. So he comes in at number 2. So who on earth could be number 1 after reading out his stats? Well, it's still the only man to score a hat-trick in the World Cup final, Sir Geoff Hurst, the last man standing. Listen, it doesn't matter when it was. It doesn't matter who it was against. He's still the man who did score a hat-trick in the World Cup final. So for me, Sir Geoff Hurst is number 1 for me. So Jeff, we're coming to you. Darren will be wondering how on earth you're going to turn this into a comedic slot. But over to you, Jeff. Don't forget to unmute yourself so we can hear it. You need to mute yourself, Jeff. Unmute yourself, Jeff. Unmute. That's it. You're there.
Yeah.
You're there.
Master of the technologies. Right. I went with Geordies, right? Just to be different. Thank you, everyone. And I concentrated on the importance of intelligence. Okay. If you want to know what's going on at Newcastle, what is a Eddie Howe type player, the one thing they've got in common is not the size of their feet or anything like that, or the haircuts or other weird stuff. It's actually the football intelligence, okay? Which is a bit, and it's a bit like a rhythm, a drummer underlying the whole thing, right? So I want to talk about somebody which you've all missed out, and I'm so glad I got here, and that's George Best. Because he went across and deliberately did Johan Cruyff at an international game. He swapped sides deliberately so he could do Cruyff, just to prove that he was a better player than Cruyff. So I'm very pleased I got here, and George Best had not been mentioned. And if you're going to start throwing people around, I'll throw Banks in there as well for his magnificent save. In terms of Geordies, well, I mentioned a few bad people because I'm quite a fan of Peter Schmeichel. Did quite a good job for his team, and I'm quite a fan of Ivanovic. He was somebody else. And while I'm there, Dennis Bergkamp, another one who was really quite a special player, I think. But in terms of us, Beardsley, footballing intelligence again. That man could read the whole pitch, could see what's going on, and I've never seen a player pick a pass like that until very recently, and we'll leave that alone. And of course, Alan Shearer has to be mentioned, just for his sheer just obstinate approach to the game, and his refusal to go and play for the Reds. Red's a very nasty colour. It represents danger, blood. Ugh. You shouldn't eat things that are red. They're normally bad for you, poisonous. And the one person I would like to mention, which has also not been mentioned, is Speedo. Okay, we tend to miss him out for various reasons, but he was a splendid servant for our club, and I've never seen a defensive midfield. We never seemed to lose when he was on the field. Right? It was a sort of thing. It was just, when he's there, we didn't lose. So those are my players, and that's my pick.
Okay, I mean, you created your own list, but that suits me,
I couldn't
Jeff.
read yours.
Well, I had a feeling you would do it. You managed to get Shearer, so well done.
Right.
Anyway, we are just going to point out the fact that there's a little link in the chat as well, and that is for Adam's song. Adam has brought out his latest single, "If Time Gave In," produced by Lyndon Phyllis Kirk and demoed by Josh Webb. It's in competition with lots of other singles. So if you click on that link, if you just vote for Adam's song, which is "If Time Gave In," you will be able to help Adam potentially get into the top 40. So please give it a vote. Just search Adam's song on that. We'll manage to find a link. So stick that in and give a vote for Adam, please.
Good luck at it.
Gratefully received. Okay, we are going to look ahead to Newcastle's next game, which is against Manchester City after the international break, of course. 5:30 kickoff live on Sky Sports. There is optimism that Tino Livramento could rejoin the squad following injury, but Dan Burn will be suspended following his red card at Brentford. Lewis Hall came through 70 minutes alongside Lewis Miley for the under-21s, which bodes well as well. As for Manchester City, Mateo Kovacic remains out, but Rodri may return. Erling Haaland has scored 99 Premier League goals to date, including 14 in 11 so far this season, 3 more than the entire Newcastle side have managed. Referee this weekend is Sam Barrett. It's his first appointment of the season, and he took charge of the 2 Premier League games last season, the 3-1 home win over Brentford and the same scoreline against Southampton. VAR is Craig Pawson. So, George, coming to you, mate. Big game this. What kind of changes are you expecting, George? Obviously, we know Dan Burns out. Do you think he'll stick with Botman and Chow at centre half? What are you expecting?
Yes.
A return for Hall?
Yeah, I think he will, because they're steady together, and Eddie's kind of not done badly against Haaland with centre backs. I mean, the one that's likely to be sitting on the bench is Jamal Lascelles, and Haaland hasn't scored against Jamal Lascelles when they've been face to face. So I think he'll stick with that pairing. It's too soon for Tino to be in the team, I think, to play, but he's certainly been touted for on the bench. And I'd love to see Lewis Hall back there. If it's not Lewis Hall, then we have to think seriously about how we move things around. Trippier perhaps over that side and Kraft on the right. But I think Eddie will do what he's done against the big teams before. He'll go to back 4 or 5 and play it from there. He'll concede the ball for long periods of time and catch them on the break like we've done before. Never an easy game against Manchester City. Always tough stuff. But then that's what they've been in the Premiership's about, isn't it? They've come out of a bit of a doldrums for them this year and starting to play like we know they can play. And, while lots of people, including Arsenal themselves, think they've got the title wrapped up, I would be happy to put my mortgage on Manchester City, maybe catching them and foiling them again. So it's going to be tough. That being said, I've said it on here plenty of times before. If Eddie can get the team together and they all play to their best ability, we can challenge anybody at St James's Park. Do you want to bring a prediction, Steve?
Yeah, we'll get your prediction anyway. We'll see you on Wednesday for the Amigos. But give us your prediction.
So my prediction is 2-1 to Newcastle.
2-1 to Newcastle. Okay, Darren, are you as optimistic as George? No, you might be on mute. Yeah, you're on mute, mate. You'll have to unmute yourself.
Sorry there. No, I'm not optimistic like George, mate. I kind of say scoring 2 goals against Man City. I hope Ramsdale starts because Nick Pope needs to be dropped. And if Lewis Hall's fit for the benching start, I think you play Trippier, Chow and Botman. You'll play Tonali, Bruno and Joe Linton. Murphy on the right.
Gordon.
I don't know how Gordon is that. Gordon Bond. I think you play Barnes and Baltimore. And I think you'll go very defensive on the counter-attack. So I can hope for a 1-1. But if we get beat, I don't mind getting beat as long as the boys give 110%.
No Willock this weekend, Darren?
No, see, when we play Tottenham in the cup game, mate, that was Joe Willock will play.
And you don't fancy him playing Shaw at the weekend? Haaland's never scored when Shaw's been in the team.
I can't see him dropping Chow or I can't see him play like.
I would drop Botman, to be fair, but
yeah, I know you'd never go. Be fair, you could drop anybody after the last game, after the last performance, can't you? He would stood out. Be fair, did he?
I think Botman gets away with this one because Burns suspended. I think he gets away with it. But I think he will. I think you're right. I think he'll play Botman and Chow. But it's interesting that Shaw's got such a good record against Haaland.
Do you think you should drop Ramsdale in? Pope.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I think Ramsdale should get a chance.
If he doesn't drop.
But he won't. I keep saying this because he's not a permanent signing. I think it makes it easy for him. He's not a permanent signing. I know. But I think he'll keep him for the Carabao Cup game. But yeah, give us a prediction, Darren.
1-1. That's what I can hope for.
I'm going for a 2-1 defeat. I don't think Newcastle will win this game.
That's be negative. That's the other one. 3-1 Steve.
I think we'll get beaten.
The worst would be 3-1. Holland scores 2 goals.
Yeah. Okay, Kev.
Scratching my head where to pull positives from after recent results and performances, to be perfectly honest. Yes, it's a home game. It's the 5:30 kickoff. It's all the above, all them narratives that you want to try to be optimistic and be positive about. But I just don't see a way unless Eddie Howe pulls something out of a magic hat where he's found something within this international break with pretty much half the squad away on international duty. It's going to be a very tall order. You know, you've got the top goal scorer in the Premier League coming up against you when previously we had a very solid defensive record. But now all of a sudden it seems like we ship goals for fun, and it will against whoever the opposition is. Even West Ham put 3 against us. You know what I mean? So they haven't got a blistering attack, but they did against us. Similarly with Brentford. So with that said, I don't see where goals are coming from. I see that it's top end of pitch of being creative. Yes, we can defend as all day, long as we've got a hole in the backside. We could do that, but at the end of the day, we'll have to get a win. We'll have to get victories. We'll have to find a way to win games, and we'll probably have to win this in an ugly fashion. So I'd say, point Steve, I would completely, pretty much revamp it. I would change the shape. I would go completely a different way. I would play 3. You can go Shaw, Chow, Botman as a 3. You can play Trippier, Lewis Hall left and right. Then you can have a mixture of a midfield depending on injury state updates or whatever. If Joe Linton's fit from that knock that he picked up against Brentford, you hope that it would be. You know, so there's a lot of variables that could happen. So again, it's just depending on, like I've always said, the mentality going into the game. You know, what do they want out of it? But for me, it can't be just a sit in at home, low block, playing against one of the best teams in the world still, even though they didn't really start well, but now they're flying. You know, they're hitting a good run of form, scoring goals, looking like the Man City of old. But again, like Pep, one of the best managers in the world, in my opinion, or the best manager in the world, in my opinion, Pep Guardiola, changes things constantly year after year. Even in 3-4 weeks, he'll change something. If it's not right, he'll change it. He'll just completely flip the whole situation around, and he'll find a way. And that's the worry. That's the problem. It's not the players that they have, because he gives them the tools and to execute. It's what's he going to do, and how what's the response from Eddie Howe and the coaching staff and the analytics, all the above, the team. How are we going to go and set up against them? I don't think we'll have any answers to that. It's just basically going to be a low block. Hold on to what we can get. Hope for a draw. Pray that we might get a 1-0. But unfortunately, I think this could be quite a dreary afternoon. I think this is going to be we'll use the word, an absolute slacking. I think we're going to get absolutely smashed this weekend, because I think the confidence is that low. I think, and I went 3-0, but I think the confidence is that low within the team that they don't know how to find a way to get themselves out of it. But yeah, football, you never know. We might turn around and it might go the other way, but that's just not trying to be negative. Or I just don't see when they're going to get our next win from.
Yeah, I can understand. I can understand you feeling like that, especially after the last 2 away games. Alan,
basically, what Kevin said, 90% I share. But what I would say on the positive side, 90% I agree with Kevin with a back 5-3. But if anybody saw Amara scoring them 2 goals against Luxembourg, yes, it's only Luxembourg. He did get in the box, so we've got to support the lad. We've got to have men forward, and like Kevin says, it's no good going in a lower block all the time with Man City. They'll pick you out and score 2, 3, 4 goals. So in a way, you've got to surprise Pep by going for it. Will we? I doubt it. It could quite easily be, say what Kevin said, but we've had some really good games against them in the last few years. Yes, we've got beaten most of the time, but we got beat 3-2 2 years ago, and it was a cracking game. 3s each the year before that. 1-1 last year. So we've really, stepped up the plate at St James's. Have been some really good games and tight games. My head says we'll get beat, Steve, as usual. 2-1 or 3-1. My heart says we could get a 1-1 as long as the game goes on and it's tight. Because bearing in mind, lads, Man City have got pressure on them to catch Arsenal. You've got to be thinking, they be thinking we've got to win this game to put the pressure on Arsenal the day after. So there's pressure on them to win the game. So the first goal is crucial, Steve, and we must score to have any chance of getting anything out of the game. So I'm going to leave it at that, Steve. I'm going with your heart for a change, 1-1, but I think we'll get beat, to be truthful.
Okay, Magnus, been doom and gloom on the international front. Is it going to get any better domestically for you?
Well, I kind of need it, man. Luckily I can move on straight away. I can forget about the World Cup dream for now. But then again, did we really have any business there? That's the question. I am feeling, after hearing the two lads before me, I am still feeling optimistic. This is St James's Park, for Christ's sake. We always perform against the bigger teams, and especially at home. We need the audience to be there. They need to be on their game. And I am seeing a thrilling game. The fact that Dan Burn is not available is maybe a blessing in disguise, because Eddie Howe wouldn't take him off last game. The referee had to do it. Anyway, that was an unfortunate game, and for me, we really need our fullbacks, and if they're not fully fit, if they're even half fit, they still need to start this game. We really need Tino. He needs to also prove a point, because they were trying to buy him in the summer. But for me, the other question is, we need to find the form of Walter Mate from country to club. He needs to find the net, and I know there's a big adapting process going on, but I think it's going to be a good game. 3-2 for me, and Walter Mate will score another 2 goals. This is going to be a thrilling game, but we will win them 3-2 for me.
Good stuff, Magnus. A bit of positivity.
3-2.
Oh. Send us some of what you're drinking.
What even having, son? Give me size. Send me some.
There we go. It's some Icelandic beer.
3 goals.
He's been on this since the Iceland capitulation in the World Cup.
Yeah, I had a tough day last night.
Yeah, I can see you've had a tough day, son.
Pablo.
I've just thought of something before. Adam, if you ever need any hair influence from a footballer from that list, Carlos Valderrama, brother. The Man City game. I think ultimately what fuels my decision, or my thinking, is that I do think Man City will come back and win this Premier League. I think the master will beat the student eventually, and I think with City picking up, I think with Haaland on 99 goals, he's going to be revved up in it. I think looking at it, all I'm after seeing, being realistic, is a percentage on performance levels and some kind of idea that Eddie's got that group together. I know it's been international break, but before they went, after that Brentford result and the 3 that preceded that, I would have called a big AGM, because them 3 performances and their levels were not acceptable. We'd lost our way of it, so I would imagine they've got together, or that's what I would hope. Looking at the Man City game, can I see us beating them? Being perfectly honest, no, I can't. I can accept a defeat if I see improvement in other areas of the game, and that also includes Eddie Howe. He is accountable as well, don't forget, lads. I think the only way we can beat them, we certainly can't go and press them and play the game that we maybe did a year ago where we could upset the apple cart with these big teams. I don't see us having that in us at the minute, you know, with confidence, with skill, with the team that we've got. The only way we can beat them, and it's purely a smash and grab win, and it's being resilient at the back. We have got a resilient defence. That's going to be the ultimate test for them as the Man City. If they can resist Man City scoring goals, then do you know what? There ain't many defences that can do that. So I think smash and grab, maybe a 1-1. I'd be over the moon with a draw. Do I see it? Probably not. But I want to see improvement. And what I'd probably disagree with Magnus to a certain degree, as in I don't want to see Tino Livramento on that pitch just because our team is in need at the minute. For them to go and have a recurring injury down the line, I would probably hold off on them, lads. Don't get me wrong, I'd give them some minutes. Lewis Hall, I think, is ready. I think Lewis Hall's going to play. You know, that's been forced upon us, really, with the Dan Burn situation. The Nick Pope thing, as much as you all know, I would love to see Ramsdale given a chance. I think Eddie will stick with Pope. I think the midfield writes itself, and I think almost the top three at the minute write itself. I think he'll go with Barnes, Murphy, Walter Mardy. I'm not optimistic, lads, but I'm also living in hope. And I also know that we've been in games like this before where we've raised a few eyebrows. So I'll go 1-1.
1-1 from Pablo. What about you, Alwaleed?
I believe it's up to Newcastle, this game. If Newcastle play 100%, I think they're able to win. Last two games of Newcastle in Premier League, they score first early goals, and they want to save energy for Champions League. This is how I see it. But I believe against Manchester City, it's a big game. All the team will be excited to beat them. It's going to be hard, you know, because Haaland on fire. He took his team to World Cup. I think the first World Cup for him. He will be very excited and high spirit. Also, Voltmada, he did also a great week with Germany. It's a really interesting game, and I believe Newcastle able to win because they will go 100% in this game.
Prediction, Alwaleed?
Okay, I could say 2-1 Newcastle.
2-1 to Newcastle. Okay, Adam.
I agree with what Alan was saying. The first goal is very important. I think if Man City get an early goal, then it's curtains, and I think it's going to be a very long afternoon. I think the longer we can frustrate Man City and get in the faces from the off and try and disrupt their play, then I can see it honestly being an entertaining game. I agree with you. Obviously, we want Ramsdale in goal, but I think Pope will be kept in there because it's what Eddie Howe's like. He's loyal to the players he's got. I think we'll have a Champions League night feel to it. It's under the lights in James's Park. Crowd will be revved up for it. I do see it being quite a high-scoring game for both sides. I think it's just because it's going to be cagey. I think it's going to be a 3-3 draw, Steve.
3-3 draw. Of course, we had one of those a while back.
What are you doing too?
You never know. Jeff, first of all, we need to have our guest appearance. There's Rex.
Hey.
Good evening, Rex.
Today. He's very clean and shiny.
Very well organised and not traipsing.
Smells lovely.
Not traipsing mud through the house today, which is good news. Jeff, give us your prediction.
Score, Rex.
Yes. There we go. There you go, boy. Well, he's off now. Right. Well, we've got to remember, this is a strange time of year. And I woke up on Sunday morning and Twitter was all talking about Bellingham for some reason, until I realized that actually it was somebody else trending on Twitter. And also the triumph of England's now number 2, which has its own implications. And what is going on with this custard yellow? I'm completely confused by this. We've had custard yellow boots. We've got a custard yellow ball. I have gone wearing custard yellow. Anyway, we've now got a custard yellow whistle. The whistle was custard yellow. There is some conspiracy going on here somewhere. And it's something to do with Noon, possibly. And it turned out it isn't Peter Noon from Herman's Hermit.
Or it's possibly Mr. Noon, the unfinished novel by D.H. Lawrence. Anyway, it's difficult to predict these things. I couldn't play because, you know, I had rickets as a child. My mind recently is we've got to go down to Marseille, and poor Adam P's been down there, and the last time I heard, he'd been trafficked to some island somewhere, and due to heavy snow on Boxing Day, I've also discovered that the match has been cancelled again and moved, and we've now got Rampton Old Boys against Saddleworth Rovers. Yes, and I would play Shah.
What was your prediction, Jeff?
3-0.
Thanks, mate. To Newcastle.
Yeah, of course.
You've been drinking.
Very good. Good stuff. Jeff, Adam, Alwaleed, Pablo, Magnus, Alan, Kevin, Darren, George, thanks very much for your time. Thanks, everybody.
Good to see you all, lads. Good to see you all.
I am back tomorrow, 6 o'clock, doing a live Q&A. Don't forget as well, that today the single is out, The Blade and Races by the Fella Male Voice Choir. You can download that now wherever you get your streaming. 99 pence, all proceeds going to Age UK North Tyneside. Get yourself online, download it. It is a really good version, and for a good cause. And don't forget, vote for Adam as well. The only thing to finish up on now is that the poll in the chat attracted 60 votes. Should Darren get a Christmas tree? The answer is 80% yes, Darren. 20% no. Darren, you need to get a Christmas tree. Forget the potted plant. Look forward to seeing this Christmas tree.
It's that big.
See you tomorrow, guys. Take care.
A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. You can find them at their website, skipsandbins.com. Contact them at www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. A big thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. You can find them at their website, mrvickies.co.uk. Email info@mrvickies.co.uk or telephone 01768 210 102. Thanks to our fanzine sponsor, United Group Travel. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. 2-crew driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels and no interchanges. Hot and cold snacks and drinks available on the coach, all excursions included. Their website, unitedgrouptravel.com. Email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com. Telephone 01670 632 460 or 0791 666 4174. Just £30 per person deposit. Thanks to Media Arts for all the help with the technical side of things. And if you like listening to us as a podcast, you can go to Sports Social Podcast Network or to iTunes, Spotify, or other podcast providers. If you want to support the show, then hit the subscribe button. It's free. We do 7 shows a week. Hit the little thumb up under the video, which is the like button, or click share to share to your social media. You can also join the channel on YouTube by hitting the join button for as little as $1.99 a month. If you want to become an NUFC Matters member, you can go to nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk. It's a £25 one-off fee. You get your pen, you get your badge, a key ring, you get your beer mat and your fridge magnet and your membership card, nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk for that. And we have an event early next year, 13th of February 2026, an evening with Beardsley, Waddle and Gascoigne takes place at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House. To buy your tickets for that event, go to the box office 0191 243 1171 or Tyne Theatre and Opera House.uk.